All right. Hello again, Avengers, and welcome to the first episode of our amazing Dark Sun Draw Steel campaign. This is, again, something brand spanking new. It's going to be super, super cool. And today is our session 0. We're going to play 4 sessions over the next 4 Mondays, and then everything's done. And the people below me, I kind of forgot to change the placeholder text to their actual names. But we'll be turning it into their character names eventually anyways. So, yeah! It's been weird, guys. But look at this overlay. Isn't the overlay cool? I worked hard on it. Say I'm pretty. Oh, damn it. I did the wrong thing. That wasn't what I wanted. Let's lock the overlay so I don't do that again. I wanted to move me. Really? No, that's not what I want. I want me. Stop it. There we go. It was just off-center. Is annoying me. All right, so... let's start off with introducing ourselves. So if you're here, you should probably know who I am. My name is Trainer Jody. I do tabletop stuff. More people. Player 1, which is sometimes is known as Dan. Daniel, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Dan. And I've not familiar with Dark Sun, so I'm here to learn. Um, and hopefully my character won't die this year. That's my new goal.
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't know why I'm playing Dark
Oh,
Sun.
Dark Sun, right?
Um, but yeah,
cool.
I'm excited to learn and cheers to success.
Cool. Niklimdul, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah. I go online by Neklimdul. And it's been a while since I played a Dark Sun campaign, but I'm really excited. Yeah, that's me.
Very cool. John, you are next.
Sure, I'm John, or more Cowbell online. Have vaguely know a little bit about Dark Sun from the old video game, which means I know nothing at all, and excited to learn it.
Very cool. Toast.
Hey everybody, I'm Toast. I played earlier this year with the Daggerheart campaign, and I don't know anything about Dark Sun, nor Draw Steel, so I figured I'd try another new TTRPG, and hopefully I can understand it because it's got like 1,000 pages for the book, and I can only read like 1 page.
Don't
So
worry.
here's hoping
That's what
we'll
I'm
figure
here
it out.
for. I make learning fun.
And I will be dying, so you know what? Dan won't die, but I will. So.
Scott.
I'm Scott. You may see me at Wild Block. Maybe I play with Jody every other Wednesday, and I've done a bunch of it as a campaign, so I figure why not go for another one.
I believe Scott has been in every single one of my daily December campaigns, so he's kind of my good luck charm. Also, we tend to kill him off too, so
Yeah.
death is a thing when the character only has to last for 4 sessions.
Not good when the dude running it has goals of death for the characters right off the rip, and we haven't even session zeroed.
I'm just trying to fill up my punch card.
Yeah.
Mm.
If
I won't get one.
you get enough characters killed in one of my campaigns, you eventually get a plushie. So, Chris, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Chris. Normally play in every other Wednesday in Jody's campaign. Also last daily December, I somehow did like 36 points of damage in Lancer, so let's see if we can repeat this.
It was very fun. So, quick announcements. Right now, there is a backer kit going on for a game called Twilight Sword, which is Breath of the Wild, the TTRPG. It's totally not Breath of the Wild. It's Breath of the Wild. Don't tell Nintendo. And the last time I checked, they were at like 480,000 pounds, a little over that, that they had raised, or euros, one of those. It's a European currency. And yeah, if you're excited as excited about that as I am, going back in and do cool things there. Trying to think of other things like Black Friday. A bunch of different creators and things like that just did crazy amounts of sales and stuff. For Draw Steel, the game that we are playing, MCDM, the people that make it, released the first kind of expansion class. The class is called the Summoner. No one will be playing it in this game because it is nonsense levels of complicated. Also, I had a hard time trying to come up with a way to justify someone being able to summon things in Dark Sun. You could pick it up on Black Friday. I would assume you can still pick it up. I haven't checked since I got it on Black Friday. But it was like $15, and it is very, very cool. Probably the best iteration of a summoner style character that I've seen in a TTRPG. 9 times out of 10, summoners are either really, really boring because your summon is just a different version of you that can move further than you, or you break everything by having a turn that takes 7 hours as you manually move every one of your damn units. And this one gets rid of a lot of those issues just because of how Draw Steel works. So yeah, it's very, very cool. Other TTRPG related nonsense going on? Anyone aware of? Cool. Stunned silence is great for video.
Going well.
So with that, let us dive into what exactly we are doing here. So I figured the best way to start this would be to start with what exactly is Dark Sun and the Burnt World of Athas. Dark Sun was, or is, a campaign setting that came out during 2nd edition D&D, where everything was becoming a campaign setting. And it was designed with the idea of being the anti-D&D campaign. We didn't want, high fantasy and huge forests and elves slinging magic. So the world itself is this decrepit, decaying world. The gods have abandoned Athas. The world itself has been defiled and destroyed by the unrepentant and uncontrolled use of arcane magic, which in this setting literally drains the life force out of the land around it. Thus the reason that Athas is a giant desert. In order for people to survive in this desert wasteland where the wildlife has evolved to be as ferocious and dangerous as possible, most of the population lives in one of a number of city-states. And these city-states are ruled over by characters known as Sorcerer Kings. These are incredibly powerful defilers. Those are arcane magic users that really don't have a problem just sucking the life out of the land. And they tend to rule each one of their city-states with an iron fist. The world itself is very different from the world that you would generally see in a D&D style game. Elves tend to be relatively xenophobic and are traitors. They're also relatively short. Halflings are nearly feral. And tend to live in the few very limited forested areas that still remain and have a strong connection to the land itself. There are intelligent insectoid races. Slavery is widespread, and one of the ways that the Sorcerer Kings use to placate their people is through gladiatorial combat as a way of entertaining and dumbing down the masses. This is a bad place where the bad guys won. And that's where our heroes come from. Most heroes in Dark Sun campaigns are born into horrible conditions that are not fun. And their entire character growth involves them learning how to take control of themselves and then use the powers that they gain to try and topple some of these horrible, disgusting aspects of the world. Also, they try not to die because, as mentioned before, everything in the world is trying to kill you. I saw somebody mention somewhere, I think it was on Instagram or something, that Dark Sun is basically the fantasy equivalent of Australia, where all the wildlife is trying to kill you, and if you live outside of any of the big cities, you die. So,
Australia, great.
I love you, Australians. You're wonderful and amazing people. So, the game that we are going to be playing is going to be set in the city-state of Draj. Draj is in the northern, kind of central northern part of the Tablelands, which is where most of Dark Sun is set. And it is ruled over by a sorcerer king named Tek-Tik-Tik-Tle. And if you think I had a hard time saying it, you try it yourself. There's more T's in there than there really should be. And they butt up against different consonants that shouldn't be there.
So tic-tac. Tic-tac-toe?
Sure. That's an absolutely great way to be thrown in the gladiator pits.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Tek-Tik-Tik-Tle is most of the sorcerer kings kind of allow people to worship them as gods and don't really dissuade people from thinking them that, because they are kind of superpowered creatures. They were empowered by a character named Rajat over a century ago. And so they live longer than most people. They have immense amounts of power. And so a lot of people do kind of revere them as at least demigods, if not full gods. Tek-Tik-Tik-Tle is not like that. He requires his subjects to worship him as a god, as the only god, and saying anything bad about the lovely Lord of the Sun, Tek-Tik-Tik-Tle, is a fantastic way to end up gone or end up in the gladiator pits, which is one of his favorite things in the world to watch. The player characters are all going to be gladiators. When we open the campaign, it will be your first day in the gladiator pits, and they feel that the best way to get you used to your new job is by just tossing you in the deep end. And so you will, the camera will open to you being thrust into the gladiatorial arena with opponents that you're expected to either kill or die from.
Not like on the job training.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's right.
you know, I mean,
hands-on experience.
they thought about creating like an internship program, but when like 90% of the interns didn't make it to day 2, they're like, nah, maybe we don't need interns. So, yeah. So that's kind of the basic premise. Because Dark Sun is such a unique place, things like metal is exceptionally rare. So most weapons, and especially weapons that gladiators will be using, are made of either bone or obsidian, which has the ability to break. Magic in and of itself, arcane magic, is highly controlled because of the defiling nature of it. If a defiler accidentally starts casting spells near the food supply of the town, they will create famine and people will starve. So there are special rules that I've created to kind of work with those, but in order to understand those rules, we have to understand how draw steel works. So let's start talking about draw steel. Draw steel, they have an absolutely exceptional introduction in Draw Steel that kind of explains the game and everything. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but the basics of Draw Steel is it is tactical, it is heroic, it is cinematic, and it is fantasy, some sort of fantastical thing. So the game itself measures spacing, measures distance in squares. Everything is thought about and described as how it would work on a grid. So it is designed for tabletop roleplay and specifically using maps and things like that. On our lovely overlay, you can see that cool picture there. That picture will eventually be replaced with maps and other cool things there. So you guys will be able to see all of the cool stuff going on. The main way that you resolve things in Draw Steel is by rolling dice. Who would have thought? But instead of using a d20, you roll 2 d10s for the vast majority of things that you're going to be doing in this game. One of the kind of benefits of rolling 2 d10s is it does kind of shrink the extremes. How often you're rolling really low or really high is going to be less than what you're rolling generally in the middle. It also means that to get a critical success in Draw Steel, if your dice rolls are either a 19 or a 20, that counts as a critical success. From a statistical standpoint, that means unlike with a d20, where a nat 20 is a crit, from a math standpoint, that happens roughly about 5% of the time. With 2d10, you will roll a 19 or a 20 about 3% of the time. So rolling that high and getting crits is a little bit more rare in Draw Steel than it's going to be in other games. But the other thing that's kind of unique about Draw Steel is you generally don't roll to succeed. You roll to see how well you succeed. All attacks do damage. You never miss. However, you still make power rolls to see how much damage and how many other things happen with your attack. There are 3 tiers of success in rolls in Draw Steel. Tier 1, if you roll an 11 or lower, you will get a Tier 1 success. That is the lowest version of what you can do. It'll be like the basic version of whatever you're doing. Tier 2 is from 12 to 16. It's a Tier 2 success, does a little bit better than Tier 1. And then a 17 or higher is a Tier 3. You will be adding things to your rolls, generally not more than like anywhere between 2 and 5. So you don't, to get a 17, you don't have to actually roll a 17 on your dice. There's a good chance you'll be able to roll like a 14 or a 15 and still get up there for Tier 3 results. So yeah, anytime you make a power roll and you roll higher than you were intending, you can always downgrade your power roll, meaning you got a Tier 3 result, but you're like, you know what? The Tier 2 result does this really unique thing that I wanted to do. You can just go, okay, we'll give you the Tier 2 result. You normally can't upgrade it unless you have specific abilities that allow you to do that, but you can always downgrade. They also have a system called Edges and Bane. Edges, if you have an edge on a roll, you get a +2 to it. If you have a Bane on a roll, you get a -2 to it. If you have more than one edge, that's referred to as a double edge. And if you get double edge, you still just get the +2, right? No, ignore that. When you have a double edge, whatever result you get, increase it by 1 tier. And then if you have more than one Bane, you get a double Bane. If you have a double Bane, whatever result you get, you lower by 1 tier. Pretty simple. Banes and edges cancel each other out. If you've got double edge and a single Bane, it turns into a single edge. If you've got one edge, one Bane, it's normal. If you've got double edge, double Bane, they both cancel each other out. It doesn't matter how many things give you edge. Like if you have like 7 different things giving you an edge, you will only ever have a maximum of double edge, and you will only ever have a maximum of double Bane. So it keeps it kind of capped, so we don't have to sit there and go, well, you have this from this thing, and this from this thing, and then there's so many things that we're doing. No, we just want to play the game and have fun. So yeah, that's the basics of the system. Does anyone have any questions about that specifically?
Nope. Just converting language. Advantage, edge.
Effectively,
Disadvantage, Bane. Can't get more than 2 of either one, and you can get 100 of one, 99 of the other. You only got 1 edge then at that point, right? I figured it out.
No, once you get double edge and double
Nope.
bane, even if you have more edges than banes, you're just double edge and double bane. If you have double edge and double bane, it's a flat roll.
But what I'm saying is, if you're getting edge from 100 things and bane from 99 things, is it 1 edge then?
Nope. Once you get to double edge, it doesn't matter how many more you have. It's just counted as double edge.
Just double edge. Okay.
Again, it makes it so we don't have to. We only ever have to worry about. Okay, do I have at least 2 sources of edge?
Onesies or
That's all I
twosies.
need to carry.
Okay. Cool.
It's all
That's
done
less
to
math.
simplify things and make things go faster. It's another reason why everything always hits. Knowing that you're going to hit makes it easier for you to kind of plan what you're going to do and just kind of move through the things. It also makes combat go really, really fast. So most of the decisions that were made as part of the system is to make a system that is robust and tactical, but still runs quickly. Because I've played very robust tactical games, and they take forever. So this streamlines as much as it can. One of the things that we can actually talk about with the audience, there is a thing that you guys all can get called hero tokens. Hero tokens are a pooled resource, I think. Yep. Hero tokens are a group resource that is tracked by the players and kept in a pool accessible to all the characters. Hero tokens may be tracked using blah, 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 blah. We won't worry about that. I can reward you hero tokens for doing cool ass shit. However, the audience can reward you with hero tokens as well. Anyone watching, your channel points can be used to affect the game. If you look at the redemptions, there are 3 different redemptions. You can give a character a hero token, which can be used for a bunch of things I'll talk about in a second. You can give the director, that is me, malice, which is what I use to make the bad guys do bad things. And you can just give the characters their heroic resource. Every class has its own heroic resource with its own name, but they use it to fuel their various abilities to do awesome shit. So if you think one of the characters needs to do something awesome, just spend some channel points, give them that. The one rule that I have is the players cannot redeem anything. So thank you, More Cowbell. I wish I knew who that was. I have never heard that name before. But I do
is so
not need the
sneaky.
malice just yet.
Just wanted us to start at a deficit,
Yeah.
What I'm thinking for both Malice and player tokens is I have clocks. I don't know if I have them installed in this game yet. I'll do it before we play. And I'll just have an actual clock on the screen that tracks how many hero tokens you guys have, so that you'll always be able to, we have this many hero tokens. What can you use hero tokens for? Well, you can spend a hero token. You can spend a hero token to get the
Happy Thanksgiving.
You can spend a hero token to gain 2 surges. Surges are a mechanic we'll deal with in a little bit, but effectively, when you do damage, you can burn surges to do more damage. They're just extra power that your character can do. And some classes allow you to kind of generate surges in various ways. So just treat it basically as extra power. You can spend a hero token when you fail a saving throw, letting you succeed on the save instead. So something goes wrong, you're like, guys, I really can't afford to fail the saving throw. Burn a hero token. You didn't. You can spend a hero token to re-roll a test. You must use the new roll. So they work as re-roll tokens as well, which from previous experience in all of my games, re-roll tokens are very valuable. And then the final one, you can spend 2 hero tokens on your turn, or when you take damage, no action required, to regain stamina equal to your recovery value before taking the damage. We will explain recovery values and stamina in a little bit, but effectively, stamina is your hit points. Recovery value is how much you heal whenever you get a heal. So effectively, you can burn 2 hero tokens to heal yourself. At any time. It doesn't take an action or anything, so you can just go, I need hero tokens. So yeah, all that stuff make mostly sense to you guys? And all of
Mostly.
this will make a lot more sense when we're actually playing, but I do want to kind of get the basics in. The next thing we're going to talk about is an interesting idea called victories. Whenever you guys succeed at something big, you defeat a combat encounter, you go through a really difficult negotiation, you make your way through a montage, you will gain victories. In the normal game, as you gain victories, at the start of combat, you will generate your heroic resource based on the number of victories your character has. So if you start combat with 3 victories, you start off with 3 of your heroic resource in addition to all the other ways you can earn it. So it's very useful. Eventually, once you take a respite, which we'll talk about in a second, you can convert those victories into experience points. I'm not going to be using experience points for leveling in this. Once you guys get to a certain point in the adventure, you will just level up to 2. And we're probably not going to go beyond level 2 in 4 sessions. I mean, if you guys are like super amazing at this, maybe we can come up with a reason why you guys get to level 3. But Draw Steel maxes out at 10. So getting to level 2 would be pretty impressive in 4 sessions.
Joke's on you. We're not getting out of 1. Just gonna be honest with you.
Well, it was a fun December.
So yeah, victories, you'll keep track of them on your character sheet. But like I said, they affect a few different things. Some of the classes actually have things where they get more powerful based on the number of victories that you have. All of your victories are reset when you take a respite. And that's one of the other kind of unique things about this. There are no short rests in Draw Steel. Anytime you are not in combat, you can do things as you normally do in a short rest, things like recovering, other stuff like that. There aren't technically long rests where you sleep for 8 hours. The game naturally assumes that you're going to get enough sleep for your character to function. A respite is 24 hours that you are not doing anything other than resting and kind of prepping. It is meant to be a bigger deal than just a long rest. Because again, it resets all of your Viva victories and it gives you everything back. In order to take a respite, that means you have to find a place where you can literally do nothing for 24 hours. If anything interrupts your respite before the 24 hours is up, it doesn't count. Now, in order for you to be able to do all the cool stuff that adventurers can do, you have a thing called recoveries. Every class has a number of recoveries. And basically what that is that is how many times you can heal yourself, restore your stamina. Most of them will start, I believe, in the neighborhood of like 8 to 10 recoveries. And, wow, brain just a little left. And anytime you spend a recovery, you will heal stamina based on your recovery value. That number is super easy. It's a third of your health. Any abilities that you use, like there is a maneuver, which is a bonus action for anyone that's played 5th edition, that allows you to just burn a recovery in combat. Anytime outside of combat, you can use as many recoveries as you want. And your heroic resources that you use for everything, you are constantly generating them every round of combat. At the beginning of combat, you will get 2 or 3, depending on your class, and then every class has a different way to generate resources. Some, if you attack a certain enemy, you'll generate a resource. Others, if one of your allies gets hit, you'll generate a resource. So the only thing that is, non-rejuvenating on a regular basis is your recoveries. And they give you plenty of those so that you can do a fair amount of adventuring before you require a respite. So, all that stuff makes sense to you guys?
The recoveries you said, when do those like replenish, or do they
After a respite. So
after a respite? Okay.
Respite is effectively works the same way as a long rest in D&D. It's just significantly longer, and so you have to prep more for it.
Is there ways to get recoveries besides a respite? Like, can you, like, if the number that you have is 9, can you get more than 9 recoveries added on, essentially? Is that too technical of a question? We'll come back to.
No. I'm just looking really quick before I say the wrong thing. So you can't. I think there might be abilities that give you recoveries back or allow you to rejuvenate yourself as if you had spent a recover without spending them. But they're relatively rare. However, with hero tokens, when you spend them to recover yourself, that doesn't take one of your recoveries.
Okay.
So if you are starting to run low on hit points, you don't have enough recoveries, or stamina is what it's called here, and you don't have enough stamina in order to survive the next fight, you can burn some hero tokens to just heal yourself. And because the audience can give you hero tokens, it should be pretty simple for you guys to kind of keep going. I may make a modification as we keep going to just let the audience be able to give you recoveries. If it just is too much of an issue of you guys, I don't think it will be, because again, draw steel characters are remarkably beefy and are designed to be able to kind of take a lot of abuse. So yeah, as we play, this is my first time running a draw steel game. I believe most of us, this is our first time playing. I think Nick Limdul, did you mention that you play in a draw steel? So
Yeah, we've had like 3 or 4 sessions.
So yeah, we have one person here that's an expert.
No.
But most of us, we're going to be learning as we play. And again, I've made special rules for this game in order to make it fit for Dark Sun. So things are going to be changing. If you are super familiar with Draw Steel, don't tell me how to run the game. I'm probably going to get things wrong. I appreciate that you're trying to help. I'm not going to get angry at you. But 9 times out of 10, if I'm doing something wrong, I'm either doing it intentionally or I'm going to learn from it. So either way, it needs to happen.
Game Master's always right.
No. Game Master is wrong in a remarkable amount of situations.
Right.
However, the Game Master is not questioned. That's the differentiation.
Wrong, but all sales are final.
Yes. So, knowing all of this stuff, would you guys like to start getting to the cool shit?
Yeah.
Which is
Absolutely.
making characters.
Let's.
So
Yes.
awesome. In our Discord chat, there's a pinned comment. It'll link you to a thing called Forge Steel. Anyone that plays Draw Steel, if you haven't checked out Forge Steel, it is massively cool. It is a character builder. It is a encounter builder. Like, there's so many different things. We are going to be using it for the character builder aspects of it. So if you guys want to open that up, you don't have to use Draw Steel for it. I do have form fillable character sheets that you can use to just form fillable PDFs that you can use if you prefer that. Or you can just write things down on loose leaf paper if you like that better. The Forge Steel character creator tends to work relatively well for me. And we can use it to import things into Draw Steel. You can use it to print yourself out a PDF that looks identical to the form fillable. So it's a very robust program. So if you guys want to open that up, we can start kind of talking about the process of making a hero. So again, the Draw Steel universe is very different from the Dark Sun universe. So there are some changes. The way that we make a hero is we start off, they claim that you need to start off by thinking. I don't know what this word means. I'm assuming it has something to do with brain pain. But after you do this thinking thing, the first thing you pick is an ancestry. And one of my absolute favorite things about, you'll hear me saying that a lot because there's so many amazing things about Draw Steel. But one of my favorite things about ancestry is when you choose your ancestry, you don't just go, oh, I'm an elf. every ancestry has a signature trait. This is something that everyone that is a part of that ancestry can do. And then after that, you will have a number of ancestry points that you can use to custom build your character, your ancestry. Things like for devils, their signature trait is silver tongue. Basically, you're real good at, persuading or tricking people. But then you have 3 ancestry points to choose from different things like barbed tail, or wings, or a prehensile tail, other things like that. So every single race or ancestry has all these modifiers that you can add onto it to create your own custom version of it. Now, as I mentioned before, the bad guys won in Dark Sun, and one of the big things that the big bad guy, Rajat, wanted in Dark Sun was to wipe out everybody but the halflings. And unfortunately, some of the champions he created, who eventually became the Sorcerer Kings, actually succeeded because each one of them was assigned a different race to massacre completely. So there are a few races that don't actually exist in Dark Sun, one of them being orcs. So I'm going to mention some of the modifications I made to the system itself. All these are flavor changes. The mechanics don't change in any way, shape, or form. But because there are no orcs on Athos, the orc ancestry will be used for a race called Mulls. Mulls are a race that is unique to Dark Sun, and they are the crossbreeding of, I believe it's a male human and a female dwarf. And it creates an offspring called a Mull. The reason they're called Mulls is they're actually a reference to mules. If you're not familiar with what a mule is a crossbreed between a horse and a donkey. That basically they're done that you get kind of the power of a horse, but the resilience of a donkey. However, fun genetic fact, the number of chromosomes that horses and donkeys have aren't the same. And so when they produce an offspring, one of their chromosomes doesn't have a pair, which is how life works. And so because of that, mules are exclusively sterile. And so in the Dark Sun world, Mulls are also exclusively sterile. At one point, I believe they're also exclusively male. I'm not sure if that's still a thing. If anyone wants to play a female Mull, you're more than welcome to. But effectively, Mulls are a crossbreed between dwarves and humans. And they actually fit relatively well with like the ancestry features of the orcs. So we're just going to do that. Dragon Knights are a race called the Dray. That's just Dragonborn in Dark Sun. High Elves are Eladrin, which was introduced to Dark Sun in 4th edition. The Hakan are Half Giants. The Memenek are a race called Kalashtar. Kalashtar were first introduced in Eberron, and they're basically kind of like Genasi are half elemental. Kalashtar are half dream creature. They're a merging of a human and a dream creature, and they are highly adept with psionic powers, which in Dark Sun, everyone's psionic. So it just kind of makes sense. So just treat the Memenek as psychic people. The Polder are halflings. Polder is just the draw steel version of halflings. And then Time Raiders. Time Raiders are the most punk rock race that has ever existed, ancestry has ever existed in any tabletop RPG. They have mohawks, they travel through space, they have 4 arms, they don't fit in Dark Sun. However, there is a race that is my favorite race in Dark Sun called the Thri-kreen. Thri-kreen are an insectoid race that has 4 arms. So if you want to play a Time Raider, we're just going to call them Thri-kreen, and you get to click when you speak. So does that make sense to you guys?
All right.
So
Less timey-wimey, more chirpy.
Yeah, less timey-wimey, more, I don't know. For the Queen!
For the Queen.
Yes, my Queen! I love Beast Wars.
God.
So, anyone having any ideas about a particular race? All the other races are just, if I didn't mention a race, it just means that it works the same way. Devils are technically tieflings, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think anyone's going to be turning them and saying, "Tiefling, get over here." Actually, they might just call them devils because, again, racism is bad.
Rampant.
And rampant, but bad.
One question, because I believe there's, and I just lost my page here, but there is the one that I had started looking into,
Mm-hmm.
which was the undead one. Who are they? They are
Sure.
the
The Revenant.
They're undead.
Revenants. Which I didn't know. Right in the backstory of Dark Sun, there's not a whole lot of undead, but they do kind of exist. But they're not common. If that would be okay in the gladiatorial arena type of party
Absolutely.
mixture.
I think undead would probably be the best gladiators because after you kill them, they come back.
Sure.
But no, one of the Sorcerer Kings, Dregoth, got really close to becoming a dragon, scared the rest of the Sorcerer Kings because dragons in Dark Sun are not like super cool, flying around in the sky. No, there's only one. His name is Boris. I don't know why they called him Boris. I don't know where Natasha went, but there's only one dragon in all of Dark Sun, on all of Athos, and he's referred to as the dragon. And the process of becoming a dragon involves mastering both preserving and defiling magic, and then mastering another form of magic called dragon magic, and then sacrificing a shit ton of people. And so as the Sorcerer Kings saw Dregoth getting close, they all teamed up on him and killed him. And then a few decades later, the city that he ruled over suddenly started having weird looking people in it. And so now he rules over an undead city. So undead are definitely a thing in Dark Sun.
Perfect.
So, yeah, if you would like to be undead, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, so the tricky part was I was picking two things that don't necessarily jive 100%, but right, they're there. But I was looking at Undead Elementalist and being a little bit of a offshoot, right? Like wizard bad, but also undead weird, but also I'm going to be a little bit of a roguey sort of like, but people aren't going to know I'm undead because I'm going to try to hide it a lot and things like that and have a backstory that fits. So
You mean
that's
like
my concept.
Are you saying like you're gonna put a patch of skin on yourself and it's just gonna slide off or whatever?
It's dusty. We'll just rub some dirt on it.
Every so often, like a thumb will fall off, and you're like, nobody saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk about the rules for defiling and preserving a little bit later, but that's definitely something.
Yeah, as long as none of that buzzes as a negative, then that's maybe where I'm going to roll. We'll see what other people are doing.
All of you guys are going to have to figure out why you have been put in the gladiatorial pits. So, for you personally, it might be that you were either preserving or defiling. Most people can't tell the difference. They would just go, Defiler! And in Tectictele's city, Draj, he gets to choose who casts magic, not you. And if you do something he doesn't like, he throws you in the gladiator pits or kills you, whichever one seems more fun at the time. So that might be what got you into the gladiatorial pits, is you were being all sneaky about your magic and then somebody snitched on you. Put a tack on teacher's chair. Somebody snitched on me. Tied a knot in Julie's hair. Somebody snitched on me.
Poor Julie.
I'm getting nothing for Christmas. All right. Any other ideas that people have? If you want to know more about how kind of the races fit, again, you're welcome to ask. Half giants are kind of similar to moles, where they were intentionally bred because giants are very, very powerful but very difficult to control. Humans are very easy to control but are kind of wimpy, so we put them together, and now we have half giants. Dre was technically another manufactured race. I can't remember the Sorcerer King that made them, but he wanted kind of some shock troops, and so he added kind of draconic features to some of his followers. The interesting thing about the Dre is there's two generations of Dre. The first generation didn't quite work, and so sometimes they're kind of draconic, but not everything works the way it's supposed to. And then the second generation Dre are just cool dragon people.
Everybody's got a first draft, you know?
Yeah, So
I like pizza.
And I believe there's two different races that have flying as one of the things you can pick, or ancestry, sorry. You are welcome to do that. It will not break the game in any way, shape, or form. If you fly too high, they will just shoot you out of the sky. That's the fun part about being in a giant pit with deadly animals surrounded by guards. So, other ideas for the ancestries you guys are picking, or any questions you have about any of the ancestry traits? The dwarvish signature trait of runic carving is super freaking cool. So many of the things are just really cool. The dwarves in Draw Steel literally can carve runes that have effects in them. So
the question that I had, so you choose a ancestry, you get 2 signature traits, and then you get ancestry points. Do those ever increase, or how does that work?
So when you choose your ancestry, every ancestry has some kind of signature trait to it. Some will have multiple, some will just have one. And then you have your purchased traits. Different ancestries have different numbers of points that you can use. But that's all a initial character creation thing. I think there's a perk later on or something that can happen in some of the classes that will give you more ancestry points. But don't plan on it. Just kind of plan on, this is, you are your version of a dwarf or your version of a Hakan or whatever it is. And that's it. You're generally not going to be changing it that much. Unless, who knows, maybe some of you guys will die and more of you will turn into Revenant. Because that's a thing.
This is Bill. Bill's no longer Bill. Bill is Ted. Ted is Revenant.
I used to be. So, yeah.
I don't think I have any questions on the ancestry part. Just
kind of picking. Does anyone want to share the particular ancestry that they've kind of fallen on?
Well, I did mention I was thinking about playing a Peter Capaldi type, and then Time Raider, and with the Insectoid. I'm kind of liking that idea, but I don't know.
Fun fact about the Thri-kreen. In the Thri-kreen language, Thri-kreen literally translates as wanderer. There's another version of Thri-kreen that every so often is seen in Dark Sun called Tor-king. And Tor-kreen translates as home or something similar to that. Basically, all Thri-kreen are nomadic, and all Tor-kreen live in a place north of the Taborlands, north of all the city-states and things like that. But most of the denizens of Athos don't realize that they're the exact same people, just one of them moves more. And so they think that they're 2 separate monsters.
Interesting.
I did a lot of research for this campaign. All right, we starting to feel good about ancestries? Anyone need help kind of picking things, or are we about ready to move on?
I'm kind of leaning towards maybe a devil, but I don't know, we'll see.
Devils are fun. Sometimes it's kind of easier to pick once you have like your class picked. So I'm fine if you guys are like, okay, I've got a few kind of bookmarked in my head, and I'll kind of come back to this once we pick the rest of the character out.
I always think it's interesting how they start normally with like races and stuff, or in the ancestries, and then in my head, like, that's not how I create it, right? I create the thing it's going to do, and then what it did and how it got here, and then I'm like, well, what race do we pin to it that fits what I want to do, which is maybe backwards, but how my brain works.
It's
Same.
Again, it's how you approach the character. The way it's outlined here, you're supposed to have a concept and basically a character picked out already, and then as you move through the process, you just pick the things that fit your ideal character, whereas you kind of let the character building process kind of define the character. Both of them are valid. They're just very different ways to do it. So, anyone else want to spend a little bit more time on ancestries before we move on?
No, Human Revenant is, I think, is where I'm aiming.
Cool. All right. Let's go to background. Background is a combination of a couple different things. You have your culture. And your career, I think, is what it is. Yeah. So, culture is basically like the group you grow up with. Career was your job before you became locked in the gladiatorial pits. The interesting thing about cultures, basically, both of these things are just ways to give yourself skills. And there's a very long list of skills in Draw Steel, which normally I'm not a big fan of. But the interesting thing about skills in Draw Steel is when you have a skill, all it does is gives you a +2 to your roll. So it's not going to make or break your character. If you don't have a particular skill, you can still do things. It's just easier for people that have a particular skill. So with culture, which we'll start off with, is built on is it 4 different things, right? No, 3 different things. Environment, organization, and upbringing. If you want to kind of custom create your own culture for what you think this character will went through, you absolutely can. Otherwise, in the book, there are kind of example cultures based on your ancestry, or based on communities. Things like if you came from like a college style community where education was very important, they have a pre-built culture for that. Again, for those of us that are kind of building the character as we go, you may want to come back to culture later, or you can kind of look through them and see what they do. But effectively, they just give you a choice of a few different skills that your character is better at. So if you want to literally just kind of pick and choose an environment, an upbringing, and an organization, you can kind of create your own culture, or you can use one of the pre-made ones. Make sense? Cool.
Yes.
Anyone
Yeah,
have
this was
any-
easy just to roll through the creator when I was going through it. Like there's a lot there, but if you use the creator, it's just like, I don't know, this. Okay,
Mhm.
well now I have these options, so that was helpful.
Yeah, it's one of the things I like about Forged Steel is instead of having to go through everything and like, does this look? Just pick something and then it tells you, okay, pick from this small group of
Mhm.
skills. You're done. So yeah, like I said, does anyone want to kind of stick with the culture while they're planning, or do they want to kind of come back to it as we define more of the character?
I think come back.
Yeah, I think so. Coming back would be good.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Moving on. Languages do not matter in this particular game. In some TTRPGs, they're very, very useful. I don't care about language for a 4-session game. So pick whatever language you want. Pig Latin, Agalabalop, who cares?
Good old Hoggalobble.
Yep. Or Ubby Dubby, there we go.
Over Klingon.
Yeah, Klingon, Vulcan, whatever you want. Career is exactly what it sounds like. And again, careers are going to give you some skills. They're also going to give you a perk. Perks are effectively the Draw Steel version of feats. However, unlike feats in like 5th edition, where they kind of massively change how you play your character, perks are almost exclusively designed around skill usage. So they're organized into different categories, like intrigue perks or crafting perks, things like that. And whatever career you choose, you're going to get to pick a perk. I'm not going to go into all the different perks, but again, if you use the Forged Steel, when you pick your career, it will give you a list of the perks that explain what they all do. The careers, just to go over them very, very quickly, we have agent, aristocrat, artisan, beggar, criminal, disciple, explorer, farmer, gladiator, laborer, mage's apprentice, performer, politician, sage, sailor. Sailor would be kind of weird in a place that doesn't have any water, but they do have a thing called the Silt Sea. So if you're dead set on being a sailor, we can work and figure out how we're going to turn you into a sailor. Soldier, warden, watch officer, and that's it. So again, we theoretically can custom create a career for you. I'm really not going to do that. It's not worth it. We'll just reflavor something else. Any questions about it? They also have an inciting incident. We can kind of ignore that because we're going to be coming up with our own inciting incidents. Or we can use it as inspiration and just modify it so it fits in Dark Sun. But any questions about careers? Cool. Nope. All right, let's get to the fun shit.
I guess real quick before we get there, because
Sure.
I did go through all this stuff. I just wanted to double check. So, like, I chose the inciting incident where I'm going with my character, right?
Mhm.
Is he was alive. He was pursuing knowledge, as magey type of people do. He hated being lowborn. That's kind of where the culture comes in, right? He was an average Joe, wanted to raise himself above average Joe. Being an average Joe in Dark Sun's normally pretty shitty. But while doing that, something happened. He doesn't remember it, so I kind of leaned into the amnesia angle. But he knows that there was, right, the inciting incident. They had an unforeseen futures prophecy thing, and I kind of like that. So he knows that there was something about a guy dying and rising again and doing something important, but he doesn't remember the specifics of it. So he has a high opinion of himself and feels like he's going to do something, but whether or not that is true or not remains to be seen. Is kind of my thought process in making him. So just an FYI of where I'm coming from.
You want to share something really funky? Have you looked over the Hakan? The ancestry of the Hakan?
I didn't, because they were the earth gianty people, right?
So I'm just going to mention something.
Because I liked how they looked, and I thought they were cool, but then I was like, we can't be too cool. Let's make them human. So I'm not against moving to Hakan.
So, well, you could be a Revenant Hakan, because one of the things you can do for Revenant is you can choose an ability.
Yeah, the back. Yep.
So they have a thing called Doom Sight. I'm just going to read you the description here. Working with your director, you can predetermine an encounter in which you will die. When that encounter begins, you become doomed. While doomed, you automatically obtain a tier 3 outcome on tests and ability rolls, and you don't die no matter how low your stamina falls. You then die immediately at the end of the encounter and can't be returned to life by any means. So if you want to go, it goes into more details, like you can have we don't have to have a predetermined one. We can do with other.
We can figure it out. Yeah.
If you like that idea of, well, I had this thing about, chosen and things like that, that could be a crazy idea for a character. You and I would have to have a conversation about how
we'll figure it out. That
but
feels like it might be strong.
Inspired me.
Sure.
Also, half giants are not known for their magical ability. So I think that would be kind of cool, is that you're a half giant that's like, no, I don't want to break things. I want to be smart. And it killed you. I think that's a super cool character. So yeah, any other questions about careers? Like I said, any idea you have for a character, I will find a way to put it into Dark Sun. I'm more interested in you being excited about your character, so I can find ways to do it. So no idea is outside the realm of reason. We just might have to get creative. So, cool. We all ready for the next thing?
Yep.
Awesome. Let's talk about classes. Classes are super badass in Draw Steel, and while it's really, really common for people that have played other TTRPGs, specifically D&D, to go, oh, the censor is the paladin. And in a way, you're kind of right. It's similar to a paladin, but it's not a paladin. There are so many different ways, especially with the different subclasses you can choose. Like the Elementalist. Well, that's a wizard, kind of, but it also can do some druidy type stuff. It does a lot of crazy, weird shit. Or the Fury. That's a barbarian. I mean, kind of, but it also has a subclass that lets you turn into a werewolf with lightning paws. So, I mean, take the classes for how they're written and not so much of, well, what's it supposed to be? In Dark Sun, there are a few, not really limitations, but kind of reflavorings. Because again, there are no deities in Dark Sun. They have abandoned the world. There are clerics in Dark Sun. However, they don't worship a deity, they worship the elements. And so if you choose the Conduit, which is the equivalent of a cleric style character, instead of choosing a deity, you will choose an elemental sphere. I have them written down. Basically, your choice of elemental sphere just allows you to choose certain aspects of your subclass. Wow, there's lots of stuff here that I don't need all open. I'm going through the PDF, and anytime I get to a section, it just expands all the bookmarks in it. And some of the bookmarks are things like they have a different bookmark for every single condition, and all the conditions are listed on the same damn page. So I don't need 7-bit bookmarks that take me to one page.
Right.
Anyway, so for the Conduit, you will choose an elemental sphere, and then from that elemental sphere, you will pick 2 of the 3 domains, and that becomes your subclass, if that makes sense. So conduits are elemental clerics. Censors, they are also divine characters, but because we're playing in Dark Sun, I thought it'd be more fun to have them treated as Templar. In the Dark Sun world, one of the things that the Sorcerer Kings, they are so powerful, they can actually grant spells to some of their followers, very similar to how a deity would grant spells. And the people that they do this to are referred to as Templar. They're their kind of shock troops. They have hierarchies and everything like that. So if you choose to be a censor, you will be a Templar, and you will need to choose one of the 12 Sorcerer Kings. Again, I have a list of all the different Sorcerer Kings. I've shown it to you guys. And basically all that does is you choose your Sorcerer King, and then you choose one of your their domains that they hold sway over, and that will affect how your class works. Hold please, I have to remember which one is which. Dark Sun World Rules. Yeah, so censors, elementalists, and troubadours, despite the fact that censors are technically getting magic from their Sorcerer King, they still use arcane magic. So censors, elementalists, and troubadours, when you create your character, you have to decide if you want to be a defiler or if you want to be a preserver. Defilers are what we've talked about before. Anytime you use arcane magic, you draw the magic that you're going to use out of the plant life around you to cast the spells. And so because of that, whenever you cast defiling magic, it kills all the plant life around you. Preservers do the same thing, but they've learned to be careful with their casting so that whenever they take some energy out to cast their spells, they also put it back in and they don't cause permanent damage to the land. From a mechanical standpoint, defiling all of your power rolls for magic technically are easier for you to succeed at. A tier 1 result, instead of being rolling at 11 or lower, tier 1 results for defilers are 9 or lower. Tier 2 results are 10 to 14, and tier 3 results are 15 or higher. So defilers are able to cast more powerful spells easier, and they also have a maneuver, bonus action, that allows them, after they see what they roll, they can just use their maneuver to bump it up a tier. The drawback of defiling is every area that you're in is going to have a specific numerical value of life energy around it. Every time you cast any of your abilities, other than a free strike, you will be draining life energy. Your kind of base abilities and your kind of at-wills, which I believe are called something. What's it called again? Go to the censor. They are called signature abilities. So all of your class features that don't require heroic resources and your signature abilities will drain 1 point of life from the area. And then anything that has a cost, like your 3 resource abilities, your 5 resource abilities, drain that much life energy out of the area. Once the area has no more life energy, you can't use any of your abilities other than free strikes. So Defilers are more powerful, but there's a chance towards the end of combat you will lose out your ability to use your abilities. Preservers, on the other hand, work basically the way that casting is supposed to work, but they have a maneuver that after they cast, or after they use ability that uses some of their resources, they can get all of those resources back as a maneuver, and they can do that effectively 3 times per respite. So Defilers, easier to cast more powerful magic and can bump up their stuff at will, but they run risk of running out of resources and just being able to go around going bop. Preservers, they're not quite as powerful, but they can regain their heroic resources. So that's kind of the mechanical choice you have. From a lore point, Defilers are bad, Preservers are good. And if you care for the environment, you will be a preserver, because then you're not destroying it. If you don't, then you're a defiler, and you get to do cool ass shit and not worry about the fact that you're destroying the world. So, that being said, the classes that are available to you. Censor, again, a paladin-esque style character that in this realm is a Templar. And if you decide to be a Templar, since you are going to be in the Gladiator Pits, we have to come up with a reason why someone who is trusted by a Sorcerer King is in the Gladiator Pits. And if you choose a Sorcerer King other than Tectucticle, probably the reason that you're in there is you got caught doing something for another Sorcerer King. Conduits, again, are going to be our version of Elemental Clerics. Elementalists are going to be your standard Defiler or Preserver. Furies are exactly what they sound like. They're barbarian-esque characters. They swing lots of weapons and stuff. Null is a monk. It is the best class that has ever existed, because monks are awesome. No change. Psionics are a thing, and they're a really, really big deal. After we kind of get done with the classes, all of you are going to get a free psychic ability, because that's how Dark Sun works. In the D&D version of it, they're called wild talents. But because of how rampant psionic energy is in Athos, every single person born on Athos has an innate ability to do at least minor psionic things. So the Null is kind of a manifestation of the physical form of psionic abilities. The Shadow, it's a rogue. It's a super cool rogue that sometimes can teleport, depending on the subclass you choose, but it's a rogue. Tactician is your fighter that does cool ass shit. Talent, in Dark Sun, we would refer to them as a psionicist. They're a psychic spellcaster. Because they use psionic abilities instead of arcane magic, they don't have to preserve or defile. So if you want a caster that doesn't have to deal with that kind of stuff, the talent is kind of that aspect. And then the Troubadour is a bard. No, you cannot sleep with the Sorcerer King. I don't care how high you roll. And Boris is off limits.
Challenge accepted.
But Troubadour is very much the most heroic version of a bard you can think of. And they do use arcane magic, so they would also think of Troubadour as more of kind of like a fighter, a fighter mage. If we're talking about like 2nd edition Dark Sun, whereas the Elementalist is more of a pure mage. Questions? You are muted, John.
I think it's through Zoom. I think you're muted on Zoom.
My
Staying
I
on
can
brand.
understand some sign, but I'm a little bit rusty.
I had to wait for my microphone to re-click because I thought it was my microphone cord coming out. So then I pulled the microphone cord out. That's then I had to undo Zoom. So then I had to wait. It's malarkey. Anywho, as someone who's thinking about going a elementalist and potentially a defiler, could you give me a default kind of generic Well, it's a random town square. Like, what are you thinking for potential values of the ability to draw
That
from
is
the
a
environment?
fantastic question. I haven't decided yet.
Okay,
I
that's
was going to
fair.
kind of base it off of basic rule of thumb. Most combat in Draw Steel doesn't go beyond roughly about 3 rounds. It tends to
Okay.
be very, very quick. And so, because of that, I'm kind of going to base how much life energy is in an area on how many people we're going to have defiling.
Fair.
Because if we have 6 defilers, then having like 3 life energy means that all of you guys are screwed.
Yeah, just walking up and bopping things on the nose. Yeah.
The idea for this actually came from the second edition Dark Sun box set. They actually had numerical values for how much life is in particular areas. I'm basically going to do something like that, but
Okay.
I can't really pick a number.
That's very
until-
fair. I was just trying to like, man, preserver's easy, but filer's kind of cool, but also like,
Let's put it
depending
this
on
way.
how you play it loosey goosey, it could be like, well, one spell now effed, but I figure that's not going to happen. But trying to base where to aim.
Yeah, let's put it this way. If you choose to be a defiler, you are going to be able to get the full feeling of being a defiler. You are going, I will ensure that you get to feel super powerful when you're casting your defiling spells. There will be at least one instance where you run out of magic. I will
Right, it
find
will
a way
cut
for
out.
that to happen.
Sure, absolutely.
The thing in between that is really going to depend on how you guys play, and I'm going to kind of play it by ear.
Very fair. Thank you.
Toast.
So with the filing, you have to like suck out the source, energy source from things around you.
Mhm.
Can you do that from a player character as well?
So certain really advanced defilers have figured out how to use a thing called an obsidian orb that will allow them to steal life energy from living creatures instead of just plant life. None of you guys have an obsidian orb or are anywhere near skilled enough to do that. That's a dragon magic ability. I toyed around a little bit with the idea of in second edition, anytime you cast a defiling spell, it would actually reduce the initiative of all of your allies, because while you didn't drain the life out of them, you're still sucking life energy out of the environment, and it's unpleasant to people around you. So I thought about playing around with that, but initiative in this is basically what's referred to as popcorn initiative. So it wouldn't really make sense. You guys don't roll for initiative. We figure out which side is going first, and then you guys pick someone to go first, and then I do something, and then you do something, and I do something. Once everyone's had their turn, we go to round 2. So short answer is no, you can't drain life from other people in this game. If this campaign were to continue, and we had someone that was very interested in like following the path of a defiler eventually to trying to become a dragon, you guys might go searching for an obsidian orb so you could start pulling life out of enemies or your allies. But that's just not something that's going to happen in this game.
Sorry,
Makes
John.
sense?
I was gonna make the big broody guy that you could take life force from me to power your spells, and I was gonna be the battery, the mana
It would be
battery.
very, very cool. And if that's something that you guys want to deal with, I'd have to come up with rules for it. But it'd be a cool mechanic. But it's
I
not
just
something
I,
I'd
I
plan
just
on.
think that was a clever pivot for I want to suck the life out of my friends, right? Like
What are you talking about?
given to
Suck
you.
me,
for
defiler!
sure.
Oh God.
Yes, Defiler Daddy. Yes.
Dude, as I asked that question, I just saw John's face go.
I was thinking of things to type, and I was like, inappropriate, John. Curtail yourself. You're a 40-year-old man. You can do it.
Fun fact: there are vampires in Dark Sun. But I don't 100% remember where they're from anymore. I just remember finding them.
Where's my vampirism? Vampiricism.
So, other thoughts, or what are you guys thinking about as far as classes? In general, Dark Sun is designed kind of around the idea that you can have up to 2 of the same class and no one's going to feel redundant. But because we have so many different classes to choose from, I would recommend everyone try and pick a different class, because there's lots of cool shit that you're going to be able to do.
I'm choosing last. Something the same.
So
You
we know John is pretty set on Elementalist. What
But
about-
let's add a little bit of I can like I've created generic backstory for guy who wanted to
Guy on
right,
bus.
if you want-
raise his station. So he could absolutely I could pivot him Scion Assist. I could absolutely technically pivot him Rogue and just drop the
Troubadour,
elemental
If you
angle
want-
instead.
if you
He's
want to go the
after
Defiler
things.
route,
So
like,
I'm leaning Elementalist, but I don't want to like if someone's feeling elementally AF. Like absolutely, I'm willing to pivot. There's other options that I could definitely fit into what I'm worried my character does rather than the mechanics. Like I'm happier about his overall.
if you like the idea of I want to be a higher station, thank you,
Oh.
Armad, for stopping
Oh.
AF.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
my bad.
That's fine. I don't know why it would stop AF. One of the ways that is a pretty quick way to increasing your station would be becoming a Templar. So if you wanted that to be your backstory, 100%, you could be a censor that was working their way up the Templar ladder, maybe saw something you weren't supposed to, or just
Sure,
pissed off the
overstep
wrong
boundary
person,
for sure.
got killed, and then got resurrected because the Sorcerer King or someone was mad enough at you that they're like, no, death is too good for you.
Sure.
So we 100%, or we could do Troubadour again, and you could just be kind of melee and spell focused person. So if you want the Defiler, there's 3 different defiling classes in here.
Yeah.
that we can
So
play.
I'm feeling real flexible. Don't feel like if someone loves wizards, I've never played a wizard in any sort of TTRPG setting. It's the only reason I like defaulted there was like, well, it's a December gaming thing. Let's try it out. So if someone loves wizards, wants the wizard, take Elementalist. Sorry. I can pivot. So, but otherwise, that is where I've slotted it with the clickies on the site currently.
There are 4 subclasses to Elementalist. So again, if we have 2 Elementalists, as long as you guys pick different subclasses,
Sure.
they will still play very differently.
Yeah, and my dude's a real fire-based man currently. So.
It could be kind of interesting to have both a Defiler and a Preserver in the same party. As you guys just sit there, one of you's going, "What? But the Earth, it's important," and it's like, "So is fire."
Yeah, I'll do the capitalist argument of like, do you see the Sorcerer Kings? They don't care what they're burning.
Dan's just sitting there going, "But fire."
Fun fact: the bar that Vala worked at was named after the Dark Sun. It was the Ebony Star or something. So,
Awesome.
but no, I have 2 routes I could go.
Hit me with it.
But both Star have the same kind of like I've switched ancestries to the Psionic one. In here it's the Mnemonic.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking either young girl, one path would be Fury, like maybe lost her parents, was raised by the Thryken out in the wilderness, like her adopted Thryken father was murdered, and so she attacked the City Watch or something, and that's how she ended up in the gladiatorial pits.
Mm-hmm.
Or she's like a test subject to find like perfection. So she's a null, she's a monk,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow she failed and was thrown into a gladiatorial pit, and yeah, as refuse, as trash. And so, she needs find purpose, find meaning now.
And that's 100. Like there are multiple Sorcerer Kings that 100% experimented on people, both to just like the Dre are just experiments, and to perfect their magic, to learn more about psionics. So that 100% fits into the world.
Yeah.
I was thinking if you went Fury and you went the Stormright, we could reflavor one of the... Stormright is effectively the were creature one, where
Okay.
you get to transform into animals, kind of druid-like. And we could reflavor one of them to basically allow you to turn into like a half Thrycreen. So you basically, as you were being raised, your psionic abilities just kind of naturally. Fun fact: one of the psionic abilities in Dark Sun in the biokinetic line allowed you to graft weapons to you, literally graft weapons onto your body, and another one allowed you to transform your body into living weapons. So it would not be that far bizarre to have growing up with Thri-Kreen and being very gifted with psionics, you just have this natural ability to transform your body to mimic Thri-Kreens. You just would be missing a pair of arms. And so that would, I think that could be a very interesting character idea if you want to go that route.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about either options. So if somebody is thinking one of the others, I can take the other one, or I could flip a coin. I have a coin here somewhere.
What about everyone else? What are we thinking about as far as classes are concerned? Found the bard.
I'm kind of feeling Johnny from the government that was doing that. Doing a ball that might be in a third deal for more power. I mean, maybe not a golden fiddle, but more power.
Yeah. I see. My name is Johnny, and it might be a sin, but I'll take your bet, you son of a bitch. I'm the best there's ever been. Johnny, rising up your bow. Play your fiddle hard. Love that song. It's a very, very cool idea. Have you thought into the particular subclass that you want? There's 3 different subclasses. You have the auteur, which is all about kind of verbal storytelling. You have the duelist, pointy things, and then the virtuoso, which might be...
a virtuoso.
Okay. Now, because Troubadour is an arcane user, were you thinking about flirting with defiling magic or preserving magic?
I mean,
I think the idea of... It kind of makes sense. Like you're willing to do what it takes to get forward. So a defiling bard, I think, would be very, very cool. So
I feel that probably how I ended up at a probably got caught defiling.
cool. So I think that kind of works. So we have a defiling troubadour, soul sucking bard.
They're all soul sucking. Let's be honest. You know.
What about Nick Lindo? What are you thinking?
I mean, it seems less interesting, but more like just kind of a straight, maybe a smuggler that's kind of a roguey sort of guy.
Smuggling, big business
Right.
in Dark Sun. We might even get into Tales of the Veiled Alliance.
But yeah, I might have some contacts in the underworld. Maybe some. You know,
Very cool. And so, are you thinking that the reason you got into the guide? Well, we could go 2 ways with this. 1, you got caught and you're there on accident. 2,
Right.
you're there on purpose, and you and I can kind of come up with a reason why it would be beneficial for you to get into the slave pens. Especially, again, if you smuggle for the Veiled Alliance. For anyone who doesn't know, the Veiled Alliance is a collection of free slave cities that live outside. They've all escaped from the various city-states and don't live under the rule of the Sorcerer Kings. And their goal is to overthrow the Sorcerer Kings. So there could be, like a full-on Hogan's Heroes kind of thing going on. If you want to go that route of, all you guys are here on accident. I'm here on purpose.
I
We're
mean,
not locked in here with you. Oh no. You're not locked in here with us. We're locked in here with you.
yeah. I mean, that's not my initial thought, but I kind of like it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I said, we
I
can
play-
we can talk more afterwards if we want to have some secrets from the rest of the party. That's another thing. If you guys don't want to go through the entirety of your character backstory, I will eventually need to know it. But I am a huge fan of each character having their own little secret that the other players are not aware of, so that those secrets can come out while we are playing. So if you want to go that route, you're 100% able to, and we will have conversations over the week as I finalize things. Like, fun fact, I have a thing that allows me to make character token things that I'm going to be using to create tokens for all of you guys to use on the map. Dan and Scott, you guys are probably familiar with it because it's what I've used. It's what I used for Fabula Ultima. Because it gives cool kind of like pixel art looking characters. So part of that process will be you guys kind of describing how you view your character, and then me using the limited pieces that I have to create the closest amalgamation I can of it. And then I'll even have little character cards. Like I have I'll show you guys on the stream here. I really did go like way too far. Did I delete it? I bet you I did. Well, I have little character cards that I'll eventually put up as a little slideshow that have all the different characters. I'll just kind of go through them so everyone can see like your class and your attributes and all that cool stuff and a little backstory. I'm like a real streamer. That's cool.
The big boy.
I'm a big boy streamer. I've only been doing this for 13 years.
Well, you know what? It's a long lead up period before you hit your stride.
I was literally talking to my therapist today about it. She's like, "Can you make money off of this?" I mean, technically, yes. There are many people that make money off of this. I'm not one of them. I am. For anyone watching this, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/TraderJody. I am 6 subscribers away from qualifying from the partner program.
Hey, okay.
Man, hey, shout
And
out to
it has
everybody who
only
hasn't already.
taken
Go
me
click the damn button.
13 years to get 994 subscribers. So I think like Markiplier can't refute those numbers.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
Got one more.
Turtle.
I clicked the button.
Yay. But yeah, so I don't remember where I was going with that, but yeah. Anyway, so we've got someone that's looking at a shadow. We've got someone that's looking at a defiling bard. Now that we've kind of done that, Toast, do you have kind of an idea of where you're leaning?
Yeah, I mean, what would you think Darb would most best be? You know, in
I mean,
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Fury.
kidding. I'm not gonna. No.
He's a fury mole. Basically, is
If you
Dark,
wanna
right?
be a
Like,
furry-
Fury Mall.
I
Yeah.
think a furry fury. I think it'd be very
Yeah.
cool. Go Stormrite. Genuinely, Stormrite is one of the coolest class ideas I've ever seen. We'll talk about kits in just a little bit, but effectively, I guess we can talk about it now. In Draw Steel, instead of having like weapon proficiencies or things like that, any class that's designed to use weapons will have access to what are called kits. Kits is effectively like a fighting style and weapon group combined. All kits will give you access to a signature ability. It's one of the reasons why things like Elementalist, you get to choose 2 signature abilities because you don't get a kit. But things like Sensors, they only get 1 signature ability because their other signature ability will come from their kit. And some of the kits are things like, the first kit is called Arcane Archer. It will define what kind of armor you wear and what kind of weapons you can use while using that kit. The Arcane Archer wears no armor and wields a bow. It gives you some bonuses. Like for the Arcane Archer, you get a speed bonus, so you can move further. You get a ranged damage bonus. You get a ranged distance bonus, meaning any ranged attack you have, you can shoot 10 squares farther. And then you also get a disengage bonus, meaning when you use the disengage action, which is effectively shifting from 4th edition, normally you can only move 1 square, but it doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. When you take the Arcane Archer kit, you can disengage and move 2 squares instead of 1. And there's certain abilities that allows you to use a disengage action. And so by having that additional disengage bonus, it just means you can shift farther. And then their signature ability is called Exploding Arrow. It does fire damage and explodes. And the effect, 1 creature or object of your choice within 2 squares of the target takes fire damage equal to the characteristic score used for this ability's power roll. So you shoot something, it explodes, and then hits something else. That is just a thing that you have based on your kit. And there's lots of different kits. There's the Guisarmier kit, where you use a glaive. There's the Martial Artist kit, where you punch things. There's the Pugilist kit, where you punch things hard. There's the Panther kit, where you wield a really big weapon and no armor, because you don't care about getting hit, because you kill things before they hit you.
The hope.
So, it's one of the unique things about Draw Steel is any character that has the ability to use a kit, you can turn them into anything that you want. Like if you like the idea of a monk martial artist style character, but you really would prefer to be like a tactician, so you can kind of move people around with your martial arts, well then take the tactician and then take the martial arts kit. And you still get to punch things, but now you punch them with tactician abilities as well. So it's a very, very customizable thing. The only thing I don't like about it is there is only 1 kit that uses whips. It's called the Whirlwind. And I just think that is very short-sighted. There should be like 7 whip kits. So
Learned a lot about Jody in this this session 0.
I've been playing Castlevania for so long.
Mhm.
And that's entirely it. So the classes that can use kits, the Censor, the Fury, the Shadow, the Tactician, and the Troubadour, all of their subclasses can use, or most of their subclasses, the Fury, the Stormright Fury, they replace kits with their Stormright kits, which is their transformation stuff. And then I think there might be 1 or 2 of the other classes that actually has one of the subclasses that gives them access to a kit. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And like you can swap them out too, right? Like if you're going into a battle and you think might need to be beefier, you can put on some armor.
Yeah, one of the respite activities you can take allows you to swap out your kit. I will say, because of the situation that we're in, you will need access to the new weapons and armor. When you're in the gladiator pits, they've got lots of weapons and armor. They're shit, but they're there. If you guys escape, I will say it would probably be significantly harder to change your kit because you would have to find new weapons. But that is a thing that you could do as a respite activity. So don't feel like you're going to get like trapped into, man, I chose Battle Mind and it's just not working for me.
I did have an idea, at least for our race. It was kind of a background.
Mm-hmm.
So I know in Dark Sun there's a race called Terek, and
It's actually not one of the races I'm familiar with. What are they?
it depends on the like edition and the art style, but they're sometimes bugbearish and they're sometimes orcish looking, but they're raiders that hate Arcanus essentially.
Can you spell it for me?
Tarek.
Terek. Ah, yes. So yeah, if you wanted...
What I was thinking was because they're raiders, I was born into essentially slavery because my parent was a Terek and the human that basically sponsored them in the arena, I was the child between the two of them, and so I was thinking maybe I could split my points between human and orc to represent that. Because
Sure,
they're
we
both three
can.
pointers.
Yeah, we can come up with something. Um, we'll have to figure. I'm probably not going to do it on stream, but yeah, I'm good with that.
All right.
So that's an ancestry. Do you have an idea of a class that you
Uh,
were leaning more towards?
just because the weapons are shit and I was kind of born into the arena, maybe null, rely more on my body and psionics rather than the weapons themselves.
Okay. Very cool. One other thing that I'll mention to you guys since we've talked about kits and everything. As I've mentioned before, all the weapons that are made of bone and obsidian have a chance to break. So there are weapon breaking rules that I've done for this. Again, taken inspiration from 4th edition for this. Basically, if you get a tier 3 result on a weapon attack and all of your abilities have keywords built into them. So like for the sensor, Behold a Shield of Faith, one of their 3 Wrath abilities, has the keywords melee, strike, and weapon. So any ability that you use with the weapon keyword, if you get the tier 3 result for it, you'll have to roll a d10, and on a 1, your weapon breaks.
Okay.
If you guys are able to get a metal weapon somehow, they don't break. So that would be an advantage to that. And again, while you're in the gladiator pits, maybe in the middle of combat, you wouldn't be able to find a new one, but there's enough weapons that you would probably be able to find a new one eventually. You might have to trade with other prisoners for it, but
Does that include my fists?
no. I mean, you could break your fists, but they don't quite work the same way.
I need new fists. I will cut them off of the nearest person.
No one fears the T-Rex.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, just as a FYI for those of you going, yeah, I'm going to do all this cool weapon stuff, and then on your first attack, put my pokey stick. So, so that being said, I'm sorry, Chris, I forgot. Did you you were thinking null, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, Toast, John, and Dan, we still need you guys to kind of figure out what class you're thinking of.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to look at the classes just a little bit closer. But initially, when I was looking at it, I was looking at Shadow, with the Harlequin mask. I think was the subtype that I was looking at, or the subclass, if you will. So I was looking at Shadow, but I was also trying to stay away from doing like another melee class. So is there like a maybe tactician that maybe like a tactician like hunter style almost,
So,
or
again,
ranger?
any class that has access to kits can take a ranged kit. So,
Okay.
Arcane
Okay.
Archer is one. There's also what else do we have? We have a Ranger kit. There's also the Rapid Fire kit. There is the Sniper kit.
Okay.
So if you want to be a ranged character, you can. We just kind of pick a kit for that. The other thing, if you wanted to go really crazy and not be just a melee character, the talent, again, is a psionicist. You use psychic abilities to do cool shit with it. So if you wanted to go that route, they don't get access to kits, but they get access to psychic abilities.
Which one was that?
It's called the talent.
The talent. Okay, that was another one that I wanted to look more into, just to be different from like an elementalist or a conduit.
Yeah.
But I hadn't even really looked into it that too much. But I was also looking at potentially playing like would be like the equivalent to like a sorcerer from 5e kind of thing, something along those lines.
Talents are kind of similar in that, in the idea of like innate ability. It's just instead
Right.
of casting arcane magic, you use psychic powers. The subclasses for them are chronopathy, time control, telekinesis should be fairly obvious,
Yeah.
and then telepathy are your 3 subclasses
Okay.
that will kind of gear your character towards doing different things. They tend to be a little bit closer to a support style class, but you could build them to be very aggressive as well. So,
Okay.
but again, in the world of like your standard attack, which also counts as your ranged free strike, is called Mind Spike.
Okay.
And so, in addition
Sounds
to
familiar.
doing
Yeah.
damage, if you are strained, which we can get into that later, you do damage, they do damage, but then you also get like a psychic rigging from it because you've pushed yourself a little bit too far and
Okay.
take a little damage yourself. So it's an interesting class that in the Dark Sun world, psionics are a really, really big deal. And so it would be very, very kind of lore focused.
Okay.
And would make a lot of sense. So if that's what you're thinking, we do already have Nick Limdul going the Shadow route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to be more of a ranger style character, the tactician does give you a lot of different things that you can do. And again, you just would take one of the ranged kits, whichever one you like best. You could still play that ranger style class.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we can come back to you. John or Dan, either of you guys kind of honed in on what you're thinking?
Well, I was gonna say if Chris is thinking more on the null
Mhm.
side of things, then I think I'll drift over towards the Fury.
Cool.
Sure.
And then are you thinking about going this Stormlight or one of the other 2 ones?
I kind of like the idea of the Stormlight.
Okay, cool. And then John, do you
Yeah,
want to?
I haven't heard anybody say Elementalist, so I'm locking it in.
Cool. All right. So now that we have our classes, again, each class has a subclass that you get to choose as part of it. For the Elementalists, you get to choose Earth, Fire, Green, or Void.
We're going fire.
And that kind of defines the rest of your class of abilities. After you choose your subclass, I think some of them will give you a choice of. Well, the first thing you need to do, it will define what your starting characteristics, your attributes are. Since I have the Elementalist open, your starting characteristics, you start with a reason of 2. So the attribute, I realized I just forgot to talk about what the attributes are in this game. So let's talk about the different attributes. The characteristics in this game are might, agility, reason, intuition, and presence. So compared to something like D&D, the only thing that we're quote unquote missing is Constitution, because Constitution really isn't an important thing. They kind of roll that into might a little bit. Might is what you use to do strong things. Agility is what you do to do nimble things. Reason is your knowledge and your ability to remember things. Intuition is your gut instinct, your ability to intuit and infer things. And then presence is your ability to affect other people. So when you choose a class, it will tell you what your highest ability score is generally going to be. Like for the Elementalist, you start with a reason of 2, and then you choose one of the following arrays for the rest of your abilities. Different classes have different things. I think, if I remember correctly, the Censor, you start with a might of 2 and a presence of 2. So depending on your class, it will define 2 of them, and then you get to pick what your abilities are for the rest of them. For the most part, the things that are affected by your characteristics are going to be sometimes your damage. If you look at an ability and it says something like, for the Censor, that Behold a Shield of Faith, the damage it does is 3 plus M, which stands for might. So whatever your might score, you add that to your damage. You may also see a thing on some of the abilities that shows less than weak, less than average, and less than strong. That is, can't remember what it's called right now. Is it explained here? Abilities. Areas, auras. Hold, please. There's so many words, and they all potencies. That's what they're called. So, your class will tell you what your potency ability is. Like, again, for Elementalist, you'll see a thing that says weak potency, average potency, and strong potency. And for the Elementalist, it is reason is your strong potency, average potency is reason -1, weak is reason -2. What that means, if you use an ability that has a potency to it, and it'll say P is less than weak or average or strong, what that means is when you hit a creature and use an ability that has a potency, we look at their attribute for that particular thing, and if it's lower than whatever your, like, for instance, for the Elementalists, if you start with a reason of 2 and you use an ability that like freezes them in place, if their potency is less than your reason, well, let's say that their might is what you're looking at. So if their might score is 1 or lower, then that means the potency effect happens. And if it is higher than that, then it doesn't happen. So it's kind of a way to not have to roll saving throws constantly. You just look at potencies. It also means kind of understanding what the monsters are good at and bad at is an important thing for you to know, because if you use anything with potencies, you know, oh, I'm going to want to target this one because I know that I have an easier time dealing with him. Does that make sense? Again, this particular thing makes a lot more sense when we're actively playing the game. So if it's still confusing right now, don't worry about it. Just look for abilities that you think are cool, and then when we actually play, it will make a shit ton more sense. So, that being said, is anyone have any questions about like choosing their various abilities or your skills or anything like that as related to your class? In Forged Steel, you can just click on whichever place you want to go next, so you don't have to go in order. So you can just click on the class thing and start making all of your decisions as far as you want to go there. So, questions, comments, snide remarks? Cool. Have we all chosen the abilities? Again, for the most part, you're going to be choosing, depending on your class, you're going to be choosing 1 or 2 signature abilities, and then generally 1 3 cost ability and 1 5 cost ability. Some of you may have more or less, and then you might also be choosing a kit. So everyone have your choices. Go ahead, Toast.
I was gonna say, I'm just using the sensor as the example.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the abilities? Where is that where it defines like signature versus 3
are you
versus
talking
5?
in the book or on Forged Steel?
In the book, I guess,
Okay.
is where
So,
I'm looking.
if you were building a sensor, the first thing that you have to choose is your sensor order. That's
Yep.
your subclass. So you would choose those, and then we would go from page 79 is where you make that first decision. And
Yep.
then you go here. Judgment is an ability that you just have. You don't have to choose it.
Okay.
It's just available to you. However, based on the order you chose, your judgment does different things. If you're the exorcist, whenever you judge a target, basically you mark them. You can teleport up to a number of squares equal to twice your present score. This movement must take you closer to the judged creature. You do not need line of effect to your destination. So effectively, you point at someone and go, "You're mine," and then you teleport towards them.
Okay. Pretty sick.
Whereas with the Oracle, you can deal holy damage equal to twice your present score to the judged creature. So the Oracle, when you point someone and go, "You're mine," they also get a little kiss of holy damage because you're like, "You're mine, and you deserve to be in pain." So then the next choice you would make would be your kit. And then you also, every class has a unique triggered ability. Triggered abilities, again, if you're familiar with 5th edition, they are reactions.
Okay.
So for the sensor, you get My Life for Yours. Basically, when a target either starts their turn or takes damage, you can spend one of your recoveries and they can regain stamina equal to your recovery value. So you basically take some of your health and give it to someone else. And then if you burn some wrath, you can do more cool stuff with it. And then after that, this is where you get to choose your domain, which is normally based on a deity. For our sensors, it would be based on which sorcerer king. You have a choice between 2 different domains, and that gives you access to some more abilities. And then when we get to page 82, that's when you actually start choosing your uniquely sensor abilities. So for your sensor abilities, you get to choose 1 signature ability from the 3 there. The 4 there. You have Back Blasphemer. The second choice you have is Every Step Death. The third one is Halt Miscreant. And the fourth one is Your Allies Cannot Save You. So you would choose 1 of those. And then we get to the 3 wrath abilities. You get to choose 1 of those, which is you have 4 options there. And then we go to 5 wrath abilities, and again, you get to choose 1 of those from the 4 choices you have there. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yep. Okay. That's what I was missing, is I didn't scroll far enough down. I thought Judgment was like one of the signature ability. I'm like, okay, do I have to choose between Judgment and My Life is Yours, or? But it makes sense on where it's at now. So
yeah, every class will have like things like abilities that they just get, and then your subclass will generally give you some abilities, and then after all that stuff is done, you will also have the abilities that are just built into the class that anyone in the class can choose. Yeah. Does that make sense for everybody else? Like I said, if you do it in Forged Steel, it makes it significantly easier, because it'll just go, okay,
It's
what
so
subclass
easy.
do you want? Click on it. Okay, choose from these things. It's massively fast. So,
If you are using Forged Steel, there's an unselect button in the upper right. It took me a second to figure out how to undo things, because I'd gone down a couple of routes and then I was like, oh, I guess it's stuck forever. But no,
this is my
Guess we're
character now.
starting over.
there's a button in the upper right that'll clear.
One
John
question
has
that
like 17 characters.
I almost made another one because I was like, I guess this is him.
Another question that I had was, in a given turn, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, what is like the order of operations for a turn? Like, what are you
So,
able to do?
in
What
a
can
turn,
you do?
You can move up to your speed.
Okay.
You can do an action. I have to remember what they call it in here, because I want to use the correct terms. Hold, please. Combat. Combat.
Main action.
Main action. There we go. So you have a main action. You have a maneuver that you can do 1 of, and you have your movement. And then once per round, you can use one of your triggered actions. So triggered actions can be things like opportunity attacks, or, like I said, every single class has a unique trigger action built into them. Some of them, your triggered action changes based on your subclass, other ones not. But
Is it listed as a trigger action in Forged Steel? Because I feel like, or in the builder, because I don't remember seeing that.
Because you don't make a choice when you're building the character, it doesn't show you any of your triggered actions. When you're finished building the character, it will show you everything that is available to you, depending on whether you're using the classic view. Will just give you like a PDF character sheet, and that lists everything in a way that makes sense to anyone that's used a character sheet before. If you have I think it's called the data view. Is that what it's called? Let me look. Let's open up test view. So yeah, in the upper right-hand corner, you have interactive view, which is basically kind of like the D&D Beyond version, where you can click on stuff, it'll make rolls and things like that for you. It'll track your resources. Or you can click on classic view, and it just gives you a straight-up character sheet. So to make things easier, if you click on classic view and you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a bunch of ability cards. Green ones are going to be kind of like your at will, and then there's a red one that's your triggered action. And then you also have black ones, which is your melee free strike and range free strike. So
Got it. The colored cards are interesting. I never would have found that. Thank you.
that's what I'm here for. So yeah,
There's also
go ahead.
There's also free triggered actions.
Yeah, there are some free triggered actions. Certain classes have them, and then again, I'm not going to go too deep into how combat runs in session 0. It is significantly easier for when we're playing the game. I will explain this is how combat works. This is step 1. Okay. This is step 2. One of my rules of training is begin at the beginning and keep it simple, stupid. And so TTRPGs are games of exceptions. You have these rules, but there are exceptions to them. If when you're teaching someone something new, you go, oh, by the way, there's an exception to this, it just confuses them. Teach them the base rule first, and then later on you go, by the way, there's an exception. Now that you've mastered the base rule, we can teach you about exceptions. And so for right now, we're just focusing on, it uses what I refer to as a 3-action economy: main action, maneuver, and move. And then you also have a triggered action, and that's it. And you can use all of those once per round. Make sense? But if you played 5th edition, the action economy is going to feel very familiar to you.
Okay.
If you play 4th edition, it will feel very, very familiar to you.
One thing that I noticed, so I was looking at the card layout, and then I went back to the classic view. There are more free triggered and things like that there than are listed under the card view. So, for example, my Elementalist has Ward of Surprising Reactivity, which is a free triggered action. You use the magic of the fire to create a ward or explosive energy, basically magic abilities plus 1 damage. So that is not listed under the card view. So if you're missing or wondering where something might be, apparently if it's not I don't know why it's not listed under the cards for me, but mine were not.
I believe that would actually be listed under your class features. On the pay-per-view. So there's there's interactive view, and then there's classic view. Classic view is the character sheet. If you scroll up a little bit, go to class features, you will see the triggered action. I'm going to guess, I don't have an Elementalist built, so I can't be 100% certain.
Sure.
But I would guess it's probably under class features.
It's under triggers, it looks like.
Yeah. So it will all be there. Sometimes they're in weird spots. Because again, Forged Steel is not something that's made by MCDM. It is a fan-made product specifically made using the SRD. So it's a bunch of volunteers working their asses off to create something amazing. But because of that, it's not going to be as robust as something like D&D Beyond or that.
Sure.
So it's literally getting better every single day. And the people that are making it, if for whatever reason, if the people that make Forged Steel actually watch this, you guys are super awesome. And I 100% love what you've done with Forged Steel. It's amazing. So kudos to you. Other questions? I'm not quite as familiar with Forged Steel as I am with just Draw Steel specifically, because I've spent a lot more time futzing with Draw Steel to learn the damn system than I have with Forged Steel, because I'm not building my own character. If that makes sense.
And when we are finalized here, when we've kind of made our determinations, how do you want us to get you this information?
On Forged Steel, there's a button that says Export.
There sure is.
If you click on it, there's Export as data. You want to be in interactive view for that to work. If you export it as data, it will give you a I think it's DS character or something file. If you take that file, open it in Notepad, select all and copy it, and then go to Roll20 and create a character, Don't fill anything out on the character sheet, but at the top of your character sheet, there's a little cog in the right corner. It says powered by Draw Steel, and you see this little gray cog. If you click on it, there's a little box there. If you just paste the thing from that notepad file and click import player, it will bring everything that you've just built into Forged Steel into your character sheet. It is not perfect, but it's damn cool if you want to have if you want to be able to use the Roll20 character sheet, which is an okay character sheet.
Sure.
All of you will need at least a character sheet. It doesn't have to have anything in it, but it's what I attach your token to so that you can move it around the map. So yeah, all of you will need to have at least a character sheet, whether or not you want to import your Forged Steel file or not. To get it to me, however, if you open up in Classic View and click Export as PDF, it will literally just give me your character sheet. And you can send that to me in Discord, and then I have everything that I need in order to know how your character plays. So I would prefer if you guys would export the PDF to me so that I have copies of all your character sheets, so that I can make the character cards out of it. Does that make sense?
Sure do.
And again, if you don't want to use Forged Steel, like I said, I do have just a form-fillable PDF that you could fill out on your own, and you can just send me a copy of that too. I just need something because the character cards on the overlay that I will have things like your might and agility and your max stamina and stuff like that, so that people can look at your characters and go, "Oh, that's a cool character." It's an idea I stole from my friend Elias, because that's
you,
what happens
Elias.
in our Zelda game. We have these cool character cards, and they show we have custom art because Zelda Universe is super cool, and they hired an artist to make custom art for us. And I don't have any money, and so I'm not going to hire an artist for a game that lasts for 4 sessions.
That is a fair expectation.
Which is why I'm using a pixel art character creator to make your cool tokens.
Still gonna be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the most effort this is probably on par with the amount of effort that I put in for Fabula Ultima, where I literally created a battle screen based on Final Fantasy 1, complete with a box for where the characters would stand and where the enemies would stand. Like, the whole point of Daily December is for me to try things that I haven't done before, and so I try to go all out to learn something. I know, weird,
Yeah.
right? So,
I guess one other question, unless other
Sure.
people want to jump in with things that they have. So I was just trying to figure out, and I don't want to go too much into combat because obviously, right? You said we'll keep that for later. But I didn't see much for like under the Elementalist, like a basic attack. Is that somewhere else in the book that I can look at? Like, if I
So-
drain all the resource in an area, what
your
do I do?
What
quote-unquote
do I
basic
do?
attacks, are what are referred to as your free strikes. Every class has a melee free strike and a ranged free strike. And they're named that specifically because they're designed to be whatever you think your character would do when they aren't using one of their signature abilities. So for a sword and board fighter style character, your free strike might be slashing with your sword. It might be smacking someone with your shield. Mechanically, it all does the same thing. It's a melee attack that does a specific amount of damage. And then your range strike, again, it might be you pull out an axe and throw it. For your Elementalist, it might be you shoot a little really weak bolt of flame, or if we want to go classic Dungeons and Dragons, what does a wizard do when they're out of spells in 1st and 2nd edition? They take their sling out and do 1 point of damage as they throw rocks.
Yay! Big rock.
They don't jump in with a sword and use True Strike to.
So yeah, your free strikes would be the things that you're using. Again, on the classic view, your melee free strike and ranged free strike are listed at the very bottom of your attack cards. Again, they're meant to be flavored in the making a hero thing where it tells you how to do it. One of the things that you're supposed to do is, okay, what is your free strike? What do you see as your character doing when they're just making an attack? You know, because your free strikes are what you use for opportunity attacks as well. And most of the time, anytime you're granted some kind of an attack, it's going to be a kind of free strike. So when in the middle of battle you're fighting and you just notice an opportunity that you could do some damage to someone, how does your character do that? Do they swing their sword? Do they just kick someone in the nuts? Do they give them like a weird look and hurt them emotionally? Do they just sit there and say, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed? You know?
Ooh.
Do the real damage.
Disappointment is seriously effective, or whatever the Pokemon thing is. Strongly.
It's super effective.
Super effective.
So yeah, those are for anyone defiling. When you run out of energy, you'll be using your melee free strikes and ranged free strikes. So you're not incapable of doing anything. However, the thing with signature abilities in that is the vast majority of them are not just, oh, here's some damage. They are, here's some damage plus other cool shit. So you just become slightly less interesting to play when all you have are free strikes left. But you're still, like, I have a Fury built just because I thought it was cool. So their melee free strike is power roll +2. Their tier 1 is 6 damage. Tier 2 is 9 damage. Tier 3 is 11 damage. That's not a small amount of damage. It's not like you're doing like 1 or 2 points. You still are affecting the battle pretty cool, or pretty effectively. You're just not being able to do all the extra shit that makes your class cool. Does that make sense?
Yep, very helpful. And as far as flavoring it, you can change it based on situation as long as it's reasonably mild. So, right, you're like, I kicked the guy in the ankle who's trying to walk past me, but this one I grab with a fiery hand and burn him, singe him, type of thing, right? Okay.
However you want to do
how
it.
you wanted to play that. Okay.
Like I said, the stuff with the free strikes is they are intentionally written with no flavor so that you can flavor them.
Believe it.
So, yeah. Other questions for anyone?
No, whatever I put mine in the group chat, the PDF, I think it's the email below.
Let me look. We open it. We download it. Yeah, it looks like I've got everything I need here. Yeah, or at least I got the important stuff. Basically, the important stuff I need is your attributes, and then your max stamina are the big things, and then everything else I can just kind of get from you. So yeah, what you did is 100% right. I'm assuming this is not your full class, unless you do want your character name to be John E. Is that what your character is going to be? Is Johnny? I'm into it. Cool.
Right. I mean, that's better than mine. Mine is currently named Name.
I told you about my inspiration was, so
Sorry, I was dealing with some stuff. Other ideas?
Mm.
Johnny Mnemonic. I know Kung Fu. which I realize it's a different movie, but it's still Keanu Reeves.
Basically the same character, realistically.
I mean, you're not far off. I would say Johnny Mnemonic has more emotion than Neo had throughout the entirety of the four tetralogy now. But yeah, I think Johnny Mnemonic is much closer to the character he played. I can't remember the name of it, but he plays this gambler that in order to pay off his debts, he has to coach an inner city baseball team. And I think character-wise, they're really close.
Hmm.
Or at least expression and emotion-wise. So they're both a little bit manic, and they yell at people, and then breaks up. Like, there's one scene where the bookies that he's in debt with come to, like, rough him up. And so instead of letting them rough him up, he beats the snot out of himself. It's like, nobody beats me up like I do. And it scares away the bookies long enough to give him more time. It's a cool movie. What is that movie? I don't know what the movie's called, but other questions or other ideas? Have you guys started going back to pick your like careers and stuff like that? Because we still have at least one more thing. It is normally optional, but I think it's far too cool to not use. So if you guys are ready to move on from classes.
Sure.
Okay. Part of your career allows you to pick a perk. Like I mentioned before, perks are kind of like feats. They tend to be more focused on skill-based stuff than they are like massively changing how you play your character. However, because again, this is Dark Sun, you guys all get an additional supernatural perk. You get to choose between Invisible Force, Psychic Whisper, or Thing Speaker. And this is going to represent your wild talent. As I mentioned before, in the world of Dark Sun, psionics is prevalent everywhere. Everybody on the planet has some kind of psionic ability. So Invisible Force is Mage Hand. So if you want some mild telekinetic ability, you would choose Invisible Force. Psychic Whisper is telepathy. It's exactly what it sounds like. So if you want some mild telepathy, you can do that. And then Thing Speaker, what's it called again? Scott, your character can do things where he touches objects.
Psychometry.
Psychometry, there we go. Thing Speaker is psychometry, and it works remarkably similar to the Blood Hunter ability, where if something bad happened around the object, you can find out shit about it. So there's no way in Forged Steel to add an additional perk, so this will be something that you have to write somewhere. I don't know where you want to write it, or at least I haven't figured out how to do it in Forged Steel. So you'll have to somewhere just mark down, oh, by the way, I can use Mage Hand, or I can use Psychic Whisper, or I can touch things and know things about them. Go ahead.
Can you place that in like the Discord at some point? Just the breakdown of the three.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a list of rules in PDF form that I'll be putting in the Dropbox, so you guys can
Okay.
look, and it specifically says you could choose from Invisible Force, Psychic Whisper, or Thing Speaker. And they're on page, what is that?
Oh, 231. I
231.
literally just got there. Okay, never mind.
231. There are other supernatural perks, things like a familiar and creature sense and stuff like that, because they are not particularly psionic. I don't. We're not going to focus on those, but again, it's a classic Dark Sun thing that you get a wild talent. So this is my way of doing that. So
Can we still choose one of those, for example? Like if we wanted to do Ritualist for the perks? Or can we only use the ones from the Supernatural, the ones that you chose for Supernatural?
For your wild talent, you can only use those three.
Okay.
However, at level 2, you do get access to a perk through your class. And again, your career should give you access to a perk. If your career gives you access to a supernatural perk, then yeah, you can choose anything you want from there. But
Okay.
specifically for the wild talent, it is only Invisible Force, Psychic Whisper, or Thing Speaker.
That we have as the extra that you're giving
Yeah,
us.
that's
Got
an
it.
extra one. That's in addition to what you
Okay.
get from your career and everything. So yeah, does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, so I just have to find if I wanted to mold it around the ability that I'm looking for. I would need to find something that a career that utilizes supernatural perks to be able to select one of these other ones. Okay, that
Mhm.
works.
Like I said, if we get to level 2, I'm just gonna look really quick because I can't remember.
Not gonna happen. Don't even worry about it.
Well, again, I have a specific
Dead by noon.
I have a specific thing where if you get there, you will reach level 2. So really, I do
Well,
not need.
some of
every
us
single
might
chant.
make it there.
What class
Yes.
did you pick again?
For me,
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, for example,
Shocker.
for the for the sensor, at level 2, you gain 1 interpersonal, lore, or supernatural perk of your choice.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you wanted that perk, I don't know if there's any. I can look to see if there's any careers that actually give you a supernatural perk. Intrigue, I would assume. Yeah, the disciple gets a supernatural perk. The mage's apprentice gets a supernatural perk.
I was wondering if there was something along the lines of a ghost hunter, if you will,
I mean,
or
we
something
could
along the.
we could 100% have something around, like again, you could be a
Or something in that realm. It doesn't have to be a ghost hunter, but
I mean, a
Apparition.
disciple. You could work again. There are no churches or temples, but you could work for an organization whose kind of purpose is to kill the undead. You might even work as kind of like a secret police kind of thing for one of the sorcerer kings that's not particularly fond of Dragoth, who's the sorcerer king that went all undead. So I could definitely see we kind of reskin disciple as ghost hunter.
as I look
And,
at
like,
our
real ghost
undead
hunter,
compatriot.
not like, oh my god,
Yeah,
guys,
killed the
it's
undead.
so scary here.
Not where I was thinking in any way, shape, or
Yeah.
form. That just
Yeah.
just so
rude.
happened to be.
Having
Rude.
both John and Toast in the same game is always going to introduce complications.
Our
And
last.
Speaking of complications,
Ah,
the
Hey.
final thing, this is an optional rule, but
We
sure
do
as
it.
fuck we're going to do this because it's
Let's do it.
awesome. There is this system called complications. Basically, what it is it is something special about you that gives you some sort of a benefit, but also gives you a drawback. I would choose an example that none of you are allowed to choose because it's too much of a pain in the ass for me to deal with. The Chosen One.
that's me.
The Chosen One.
Leo.
Perhaps the stars marked you out at birth, or maybe your name appears in an ancient prophecy. In any case, a sinister cult has decided that you're important to their plans, though you don't particularly like the fate those plans have in store for you. The benefit, you have 3 destiny points. Whenever you spend your heroic resource for your class, you can spend 1 or more destiny points instead. Each time you earn a victory, you regain 1 destiny point. The drawback, whenever you spend 1 or more destiny points, you take 1d10 psychic damage that can't be reduced in any way, and the cult that seeks you becomes aware of your location. So you get some extra points that you can use to do cool shit, but anytime you use it, the bad guys know where you are. It's effectively, you put on the 1 ring, and now the ring wraiths are after you.
Chosen one.
There are a lot of different
There's so many.
complications. You don't need to choose one absolutely right now since we're pushing 2.5 hours. But you do need to choose one because I just think it makes the characters that much more interesting. If
yes.
any of them don't feel like they fit in the Dark Sun world, just shoot me a message on Discord and we can figure out a way to finagle it to the point where it works. Like I said, the only one I'm not using... Well, I guess Chosen One is not nearly as much of a pain in the ass as I thought it was going to be. So if you want to do Chosen One, do it. And that kind of fits with your backstory, John. Especially with you being undead now. Like...
We'll see. I got to look through because they're all very, very different. Just an FYI.
Apologize.
There are
Yeah.
crap tons of them.
There's a
Jody.
lot of them.
Because at first I
I-
had done amnesia because I liked amnesia, and it's like here's an item, and I'm like, what do the items do? And it doesn't always tell you. And I was like, well, let's click on a different. Oh, it's not just items and things. All of these are significantly different.
Yeah.
Double-
If you go
double-
to
The moment I looked, I
If
had to
you
select
I
Forbidden
did
Romance.
a photo contract.
this is one where I think the Forged Steel is a worse way to do this. 234 in the core book
Yeah.
is where they start. And it's just easier. Like each one is basically like 2 or 3 paragraphs. So they're relatively short and they're relatively easy to understand. But they have on the
There's
first
100.
page,
There's
is there
100 of these
them?
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, you can roll a D100 and then that's the one you get. But to go through all 100 is gonna be pretty nasty.
So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, this is another one of the in Open Legend, another one of my favorite TTRPG systems. I ran my first Zelda campaign using it. They had a perks and flaws system, which worked kind of similar, where you could choose things that you were good at, and they would give you bonuses. Then you would choose things that you were bad at, that would make bad things happen. But anytime in Open Legend, anytime you leaned into one of your flaws, you would gain what was called a legend point, which was used to give you cool shit and make your rolls do better. Yeah, for the most part, like most of them, you can kind of get the idea of what they do just by reading them. Like cursed weapon, I wonder what that means. It means you have a weapon that is cursed. I will say, if you want to choose the cursed weapon, you would start with a non-bone or obsidian weapon. Like your cursed weapon won't break, or it might be bone or obsidian, but it's magic bone or obsidian, so it won't break on you. However, you have a curse.
Jody,
Yeah.
you in the future, just
Just throwing an idea out there. It doesn't have to
No.
link to anything. This is purely hypothetical.
I was just gonna mention maybe swapping the words obsidian or bone because
Oh.
you're saying bone or obsidian at this point, so
Obsidian or bone.
that might help.
Whatever.
I'm just trying to help you out. You know,
For the children at home,
my bad.
If anyone was wondering, yes, we all have the mentality of 13-year-olds.
Yes, I am 5.
It'll be everyone, baby.
I was just gonna say you've got yourself a case of the Laura Baileys.
Yep.
I am.
Yep.
I am.
young at heart forever.
And at mind. So yeah.
Whatever.
So like I said, feel free to look through the complications. That will be the last choice that you make for your character, other than choosing their name. Which again doesn't have to be done right now, but will have to be done before next week.
Yeah, I'll probably delete what I sent and then pick one of these and then resend it because I do not know which one I'm going to choose just yet, and there are too damn many.
I just love the names and the languages and all of those things, but I love the slight case of lycanthropy.
Yeah.
Slight.
Maybe
It's like
not exactly sure.
It's just got like it's like a minor lycanthropy. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I got a question. I did a random 100 just to see what I would like just randomly land on, and it came up with Grifter, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around why this is a drawback. So the Grifter says the benefit if you have one skill of your choice from the Intrigue skill group. The drawback, whenever you meet an NPC for the first time, the director, you, can decide that the NPC was a victim of one of your previous cons and remembers you. If they do so, the party gains a hero token.
So the drawback to that, the party gains a hero token. Yes, that's useful for you, but that means any negotiations, which we haven't talked about the negotiation system, and we're not going to until you guys actually negotiate.
Okay.
The way the system basically works is there are 2 kind of scores that are affected when you start a negotiation. And with someone being affected by your con, that means that both of their scores are going to be significantly lower.
Okay.
So it's a role-playing drawback as opposed to, I mean, it is a mechanical drawback because it means that not only anytime you're dealing with this person is going to be a pain in the ass, but anyone that they have any sort of influence with is going to treat you worse because they have a victim of your con. In the same way that if you were a grifter and you did con someone and then you accidentally got, sent to prison and one of the people that you conned is in that prison, you're going to have a bad time.
I remember you. No, you don't. I remember you.
Trust
no,
me
you
on this
don't.
one. You don't. I have a twin
remember me.
brother. He's an asshole.
Yeah, my name is John. That's Ron. That's who conned you.
Thought you said your name was Bill.
Oh, Ted, my bad.
Yeah, but like one of my favorite things. There are two different complications. One is called Infernal Contract. The other one is Infernal Contract, but like bad.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Right.
I took that.
You took the
yeah.
bad one, or just the Infernal Contract?
Yeah, but bad.
But bad.
So you and I will come up with who you've made a contract with.
I took Forbidden Romance. 'Cause why not?
doing that.
All right.
Oh.
So, any other questions about anything we've gone over? Like now that you guys have your classes picked, do you guys have questions about careers or cultures or the ancestries or anything like that?
Just to make the conversion easy for me. So, in D&D, you have like 18 different skill sets. How many different skill sets, if you will, do you have with Drostiel? Or is it like Daggerheart where you're like, oh, give me a presence roll or give me a might roll or whatever? Or
So
is
the
there a
way
specific
that
skill?
skills work? There are 5 different what are called skill groups. And I need to move this so I can actually read it.
Skill groups is the title of it? Skill groups.
Yeah, hold on just a second here.
That's not how you spell groups. Not even close.
Can I not? Okay, just give me this damn thing. Come on. Just give me like 1 second to get to the right page here.
Oh, you're good. Take your time. I'm good.
Okay, so I had to blow it up on my larger monitor because I can't read how small it is. So, again, there are 5 different skill groups, and under each skill group, there is a number of different skills. So, for example, exploration skills. There's climb, drive, endurance, gymnastics, heal, jump, lift, navigate, ride, or swim. So if you're trained in like climbing, you have the climb skill. When we are playing, we might get to a situation where you go, oh man, there's a wall in the way, but we can see that there's a crack at the top of the wall. I want to get up the wall and see if I can't like widen that crack so we can escape. Okay. I would go, okay, make me a might check or an agility check, depending on how you want to get up there. And then you go, oh, I have the climb skill. So when you make that roll, you're going to add your might score to it. And then you're also going to add a +2 because you have the climb skill. And that's all the skills do, is they will let you add a +2 if the skill applies.
Okay.
So kind of similar, since you've played Daggerheart not only with me, but with other people now too. Because are you seeing other game masters? Toast?
No, listen, I think we should take this offline. I thought we should not bring this up online. I apologize. I'm sorry.
So it works very similar to how kind of what are they called, experiences in Daggerheart are, where it's basically like, does this apply? Then you get a bonus. So similar to kind of a few other games, when I ask you for a roll, you might go, you know what? This seems close enough to this skill. Can I use this skill? So there's a negotiation when I ask for a roll. And then I kind of go, yeah, that makes sense. And all it does, it gives you a +2 to it. Does that make sense?
Yes. I was looking for the skill groups in the book. I was trying to find where they might be
are
buckled together.
Yeah, they're all listed
together.
In tests.
Test. Okay.
In the test chapter, it's page 255 is where the first one of them goes, and it's 255 and 256 are where all the different skills are.
249. Make a test. Easy test, difficult test, 254. You said
255.
255. Okay, there we go. Crafting skills, exploration skills, interpersonal skills, intrigue skills, and lore skills.
So yeah, as much as there's a ton of them, like there's over 30, I believe, maybe it's closer to 50, because all they do is give you a +2, and they're specific enough that you know when they're going to be applied, but they're generic enough that you could apply them in a lot of different situations. They're not quite as, like in 5th edition, being trained in a skill, a lot of times means the difference between you succeeding and you not succeeding. Whereas this, yeah, +2 is nice, but it's not going to make it so that you have to be trained in a skill in order to succeed. Does that make sense?
Yep. That makes
So,
sense.
Yeah. And when you fully build your character, you're probably going to have like at least 6 or 7 different skills that you're trained in. Maybe more.
Yeah.
Like the example I have here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have 10 skills. So, yeah.
Yeah, I only had noticed it because when we were looking at the complications, one said go get an interpersonal skill, and I was like, oh, I don't know what the fuck that means, but sure, I
Yeah.
got one, I get an extra one. So
So
Yeah.
like I said, in the Forge Steel Builder, it'll say, okay, you'll click on it, and then it'll show you all the skills that you can choose. So it's much easier.
I don't want to do it the easy way through the system. I want to read the 572-page book, okay? Front and back, upside down.
You are more than welcome to do that as long as you have a character before we play next week.
I was going to say, and have
Otherwise-
that all done before.
I will build you a character.
Hey, I did see there was a randomized button, and I'm ready to push that sucker and let it happen. Let it fly. That's my character.
Push the button.
Push the button.
Push a button.
Push the idea button.
Push, do 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 do. Push it real good, do 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 do.
Okay.
All right, so we feeling good about our characters and everything like that. Again, the thing you need to prepare for is you are in the city of Draj, ruled by the Sorcerer King Tic-Tic-Tic-Delay. And
Tic-tac-toe.
you have all been banished to the gladiatorial arena. And so you will all meet as you walk out onto the arena floor to face your first combat. And you pray that you are fighting sligs or screamer beetles and not a rampager or a mountain stalker.
I also feel it'd be a little poetic given how we started tonight. How does death work in the world of
So
Draw Steel?
in Draw Steel, you have a maximum stamina, and then you also have a winded number. If you've played 4th edition, it's the same as bloodied. Basically, once you get to half your stamina, you are what's called winded. Some classes, things change when you're winded. And some monsters act differently when they're winded or when you're winded. When you reach 0 hit points, you are bleeding out. And I believe you take damage every turn. Let me look at it before I say the wrong thing.
I bleed it out, digging deeper, just to throw it away. I bleed it. Just to throw it away.
And there's the copyright. No, I've been seeing
Oh yeah,
enough
yeah,
stuff.
if only it were that good.
End of comment, destroy the thing. Where are you, damage? So winded. So dying and death. When your stamina is 0 or lower, you are dying. While dying, you can't use the catch breath maneuver. That's just your basic, I heal myself. Additionally, you are bleeding, and this instance of the condition can't be negated or removed in any way until you are no longer dying. While you are dying, you can still act. Your allies can still help you spend recoveries in combat, and you can spend recoveries out of combat as usual. While your stamina is lower than 0, if it reaches the negative of your winded value, you die. When you die, you can't be brought back to life without the use of special powerful items, such as the Scroll of Resurrection. So, very similar if we want to go back to like 3rd edition. the rules for death and dying are actually really very, very similar to the third edition version of it, which is basically the bleeding condition. Give me just a second to actually get to conditions again, so I don't say the wrong thing.
Where is winded? Let's find this. This is very important to me.
Where are really? All right, we're just gonna go table of contents and bleeding. They have the glossary index at the beginning of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
bleeding.
very interesting.
So, a condition that causes a creature to take 1d6 plus level damage whenever they use a maneuver or triggered actions, or make a power roll using might or agility. So basically, while you're bleeding, if you do anything that uses either your might or agility, or you use a maneuver or triggered action, you take damage. And if you get to your negative winded value, basically half your hit points negative, you die.
Okay.
Does that make
So
sense?
so if I have 12 stamina
Mhm.
and I get to 0, and then I get to -6,
You're dead.
I'm dead. All right.
More likely than not, like starting stamina is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood between 20 and 40.
Not from what I was looking at with the tail. Weekly.
You may be right. I haven't built a talent yet, so
I am what we call.
but yeah, numbers are slightly bigger in Draw Steel than you're going to see in like your 5th edition, where you might start with single-digit hit points. So yeah. Any other questions or anything else that I haven't answered adequately yet? Cool. So that is our session 0. For those of you that have been watching, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, if you missed any of this, I do upload all these to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ChurchOfTrainerJody. They generally go live on Sundays. Again, this campaign is going to run for just the month of December. So next week, the week after, the one after that, and the one after that, that's all of our sessions. It's always going to be right here on twitch.tv/TrainerJody. It's always going to start roughly around 9. We got started a little bit late tonight because I had to build my overlay and everything. But hopefully going forward, we should be starting somewhere between like 9 and 9:15. And then, yeah. So I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited. This has been a hell of a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how you guys create nonsense with these characters. And yeah. Otherwise, that is going to be all for me today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.
Bye.